Oh, I'm excited for this one. Everyone talks about the burr that gets developed when you sharpen, but very few people actually show you the burr up close. In this video, we've got a butter fork in AR RPM 9, a very controversial steel if you didn't know. If you do know, let your friends know in the comments below. We're gonna be investigating the ragged foil edge that I'm about to develop. We're gonna take a close look at it before we hit the strop, and then we're gonna take a closer look after we hit the strop. All right, let's grind. I've been waiting a long time to start using this macro lens. The goal with this video, I want to start getting a better understanding of what's happening when we sharpen with power tools. We'll be sharpening AR RPM 9. This is a steel I've had really good success with in the past, getting it sharp. I've had razor sharp results over and over and over. I'll also be using a very worn out Magna Peak ceramic belt. This particular belt has seen well over 150 knives, probably creeping in on 200. And I recently cracked the belt with diamond to expose some of the new particles, kind of give the belt another breath of life. And with our new macro lens, we can start looking at burr formation. And that's exactly what's happening right here. Burr's actually been formed, but now you can see it's starting to be flipped. And that is the result of grit 120 ceramic on AR RPM 9. So the burr is the byproduct of sharpening steel to an apex. At this rate, if I go to cut something, it's not going to be very sharp. So we need to minimize this burr. The way we're going to do this, we're going to increase the grit progression up to 600 using a 3M Trizact belt. When I move on to thinning the burr, I only use the weight of the knife. I use very light pressure, the lightest pressure that I can. I don't know why I decided to do this, but I started off with doing about 4 passes on the back side of the burr before swapping back and forth. Nonetheless, I've had a lot of success with this process. Just going super soft, very steady across. And again, thinning the burr as much as I can. I want to avoid creating any additional deformed steel. I want a really hard foundation for this apex here. I actually end up catching something quite incredible on camera that I've never been able to capture before. So at this point, this burr is just becoming just a super thin little piece of foil. It's just flapping around. And as we flip the knife, you're actually going to see a piece of it get flung off the blade altogether. There it was. Look at it. Bam. So if that's not a good indication that you've thinned the burr and it's probably time to start stropping, I don't know what is. Still in focus. See how delicate that burr is? And regardless of how thin or floppy they are, boy, they really like to stick onto the tip of the apex. It's because I thinned it so much. It's barely hanging on. It was there and it's gone. And here's our close-up macro after the Trizact A30 or grit 600. You can still see some of that foil burr hanging on. Well, I think we got our answer right there. When you thin the burr correctly, it doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of extra work to get the burr to, I don't know, abrade away or potentially cut away, leaving a sharp apex. I'll tell you, the Trizact A30s have done me very well lately. Been using them about 3 months. I couldn't be more satisfied with a belt. Kind of working the edge here. Smoothest, softest side Let's see how sharp this thing is. This edge on up sharpness tester can be terribly inconsistent. So this 100-gram weight allows me to apply a consistent amount of tension to the fishing line every single time I do a cut test. And in doing so, it's an additional control and helps me dial in my process in my journey for sharper, better. And when I start to perform the actual cutting of this fishing line, I always try to apply a smooth and even amount of force. And that is supposed to give you a better reading or result. Almost every friggin' time. Man, I gotta give a shout out to my friends. Macro photography is no joke. It's a very steep learning curve. I was not expecting it to be so challenging. Thank you to Dr. Marvin Grove and Haganistic. They both took time out of their weeks, almost every single day, to walk me through the process. I feel like I've improved by like roughly 25%, but nonetheless, we started out grit 120 ceramic, the Magna Peak belt. Then we jumped to the Trizact A30, and then from there, the Kangaroo. I want to hear from you. At what step in the process? What's the magic step? We got to get rid of that burr. If that burr's hanging around, we're not hitting best 100. Where did things go perfect?